Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here, and this is another part of the crochet along. And as you can see, it's quite a wide part. We finished here, so we've got the yellow, this sea green, and then we've got some orange and the sea green and this pink. So it is a fairly wide part, but I didn't want it to be wide in colour, so we've got a few bands of different colours going on. So that's this section. I'm going to clear this away. So while I do that, I'm just going to pause this video and I'll come back to you once we're ready to start with the swatch. Okay, so we have our first colour, which is the yellow, and I'm just going to attach that. We're working on the wrong side of our work, and we're just going to attach this colour and do one row of UK double crochets, and that is the repeat for this row, just the same as we have started many times before. So just do one in each of them, and I'll pause the video and come back to you once I have done that. Okay, so I've made it all the way to the end, so I'm just going to turn my work to the right side. I'm not going to bother worrying about all of the ends, as this is just the swatch. And how we're going to do this then is by a couple of rows of repeats, and then we're going to have a band, and then we're going to repeat those 2 rows again. So we will start and end with this foundation row, but the ones in between are not going to have it. Okay, what do I mean by that? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a stack in the first stitch to get up to the height of a UK treble, same as we have in all of the previous times, and we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next stitch, and in the next one we're going to do a treble 3 together. Remember, that's a UK term, it's a double 3 together for all of you guys in the US. So if I say treble 3 together, you'll know that I mean it's a double 3 together. And nice and simple, that's how we do that. If you're not familiar with it, I'll show you on this next one. Don't forget the chain. So we did our stack, and we did a chain, and then we did our treble 3 together, and then a chain. So we skip 1, and in the next we're going to treble 3 together. So we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over and pull up the loop, yarn over and pull through 2. We're going to yarn over, go back into that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. So we have 3 on our hook now, but we're going to yarn over, go back in, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. So we've half completed 3 UK trebles. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those and do a chain. And that is our repeat all the way along. Skip 1 and treble 3 together in the next. And do 1 chain, skip 1 and treble 3 together in the next stitch. We're going to repeat that all the way to the end of the row. So I'll pause the video then, and I will catch up with you once I get to the very last few stitches. Alright, so I'm all the way to the end. Now when I did the blanket, I had another stitch. So obviously one of these, either the swatch or the blanket, has either gained or lost. So I had on my blanket one of these, chain 1 and 1 in the end. But as you can see, I've got 2 stitches. I've done my chain 1, so all I'm going to do is put 1 in each of the last 2 stitches. Remember, we've done this before when our blanket stitch pattern was, it's very tight, that one. Our blanket stitch pattern didn't work out. We'll just have 2 at the end there. It doesn't really make a great deal of difference to how our blanket looks. It's too wide to really notice, and it's fine. It's just not too much of a problem. So I always knew that doing this, some of the stitch counts would be perfect and sometimes they wouldn't, like the stitches for the amount of stitches that we had, the stitches of the pattern. So we've overcome it each time. Okay, we need to keep that integrity of our stitches on this row. So if, like on my blanket, you have this stitch, one chain, and the next stitch is here, that's what you need to go in. But I need to go in this one, a chain, and then in my treble three together. So I'm just going to go straight in and do my one in this stitch, one in the next, mustn't forget the chain space, and one in my treble three together. So now the repeat is we go into the chain space and into the treble three together. So we're going to do one in between and one in each of our stitches all the way to the end. Nice and simple, just making that stand a little prouder, and also we can then do another row exactly the same. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video then and I'll catch up with you when I get to the end. Okay, so I'm almost at the end. I've got one in my chain space to do and one in the very last stitch. Okay, so now for the purposes of the blanket, you need to repeat those two rows once more. So we're going to turn and we're going to do another row of treble three together, and then we're going to turn and do another row of our UK double crochets. But we don't need to do that for the purposes of the swatch. I'm just going to end off. So if you'd like to pause the video, once you've done your other two rows, then come back to me and we'll carry on with the next part. Okay, so once you've completed the next two rows, it will just be twice as high as this. I will show you on the blanket, but it's quite a big hefty thing to bring through now. So I'm just going to insert my hook and I'm going to join with this sea green. Now these are all the same cottons that I've been using all the way through, so I've not brought any new brands or anything. These are just all the ones that I've been using. So our first row here is a row of UK double treble. So that is just yarning over, going into the very first stitch and pulling up a loop, yarn over and pull through all three of those. And then I'm just going to tug on these stitches to bring them all the way through so that they're not showing. Okay, so we're just going to do one going over the tail if you want to, one in every single stitch all the way along, nice and easy. Well, you say easy, not so much sitting here with the camera in between, but yeah, just do one in every single stitch all the way along, and that we're going to do for 3 rows. Sorry, yeah, 3 rows. So I think I split my yarn there. I don't like that. Okay, so I will catch up with you at the end of this row, and then we will do our other 2. But by all means, if you don't need that, just go ahead and do 3 rows of UK treble crochets, and I'll catch up with you guys at the end of this row. Okay, so I'm almost at the end, and I'm going to go into my last stitch, and then I'm going to turn my work. Okay, so I just wanted to show you when I'm changing, when I'm doing this stitch, I always do 1 chain and cinch it right low. I know, like, you know, I don't do turn-in chains, but if you don't, then doing the half treble gives you a little kind of extra thing sticking out the side that's not particularly pretty. So I'm going to go in each one again all the way along, and I'm going to do that, well, on the blanket I did that totally for, well, it was three rows, of this, and then 1 row. The last one was a UK double crochet, so a single crochet. So there was 3 rows of this and 1 of single crochets. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video, and I will catch up with you once I get to the end of this row, because I won't continue. I don't have a great deal of yarn, and I do need to show you. So we just need 2 more rows of UK half trebles, which are half doubles, and then 1 row of UK double crochets or singles in the US, and that will give us sort of 3.5 rows in depth, but it will give us we'll come back to this very part. So I'm just going to end this row and then carry on with the next part, but I need you to do 2 more rows after this. So another row of this, complete this row, and then another row of UK half trebles, and then 1 of UK double crochets. Okay, so once we've completed that, you will have this. You will have 1 row of UK double crochets, and then you will have these 4 rows consisting of the treble 3 together, another row of double crochet, and another row of treble 3 together, so 4 rows, and another row of double crochets. Then you will have 3 rows of half trebles and 1 of half doubles. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go straight in. No, where we did this row here, we're not going to do that. We're just going to get our next colour. You can repeat this colour if you want. It doesn't have to change colours for you. But we're going to just repeat those 4 rows. So it's the treble 3 together, 1 row of double crochets, treble 3 together, 1 row of double crochets. Then we're going to repeat this part again here. Okay, and then we're going to come back. Once you've done that, I'm going to come back and show you what to do here, because it's slightly different. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video then while you continue with another 4 rows, with like these 4 rows, the ones we just mentioned, and then repeating these 4 rows again. Once you've done that, come back and I'll show you how to do this last section. Okay, so if you imagine that those rows have all been completed, what I'm going to do now is just cut this sea green and end that colour off, same as usual. Well, no, that's not quite right. That's split for some reason on that last stitch, which would have stopped it from closing off nicely. Okay, so just pull that down and pull it out. Okay, so I'm going to turn my work over. Now we are on the right side. Okay, that's because I haven't done all of the stitches that we were going to do. So what to do? Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I couldn't remember what I did there, but I do now. So how I overcome, I wanted to make this section that I just showed you, this pink section. I wanted to make it so that it had a foundation row and was the same width as this yellow section. And I momentarily forgot that I'd started on the other side. So how I overcome that was to go back and start the wrong side again, just leaving this here. So I just forgot that for a moment. I knew I had to work it out, but it was a while ago since I actually come up with it in my defense. So what we do now is we join this at this end in our very first stitch of the row. So we're working back again along that row. That was how I managed to get that with the right count. See, it's a split. It's so annoying when that happens. Okay, so we're going to do 1 row of UK double trebles and hopefully not get lots of extra splitty bits in that we don't want. Okay, that's it, that's fine. Right, so we're going to go and do 1 in every stitch along, And if you want to, you can bury this tail along here, like weave it in, or you can just let it and do it at the end. I'm going to leave this one because it is the swatch on the blanket. I did work it in. After all, it's quite a lot of blanket, and I didn't want to be weaving in ends all the time. Okay, nice and simple then, one in every stitch. So you guessed it, I'll pause the video and I'll come back to you once I have got all the way to the other end. Okay, so we're back on the right side of our work, and we're now going to do our 4 rows of treble 3 together, 1 row of double crochet, treble 3 together row, and 1 row of double crochet. So we've done that before, but I'm going to do 1 more row with you so that it finishes this swatch on the right part, you know, the right part of the stitch, if you like. So skip 1 and do my treble 3 together in this stitch. But whereas the blanket has 2 rows of this, so 4 rows altogether, I will just do 2 and finish on the UK double or US single row so that we're ready to start the next part. I don't think the swatch needs to mirror exactly the blanket. As long as I show you the stitches and tell you the repeats, then that's okay. You'll know what it is you're doing. Otherwise I just make a very long swatch and doesn't really necessitate that. So basically now you should have, this should be your 3rd strip of, have I gone in the wrong stitch? Yes, I have. The 3rd, it's talking, you see. You should have, this should be your 3rd repeat of this part. And you should, in between, have 2 of these. So, okay, I'm going to pause it then, and I will catch up with you at the end of this row. Okay, so I'm now at the end, and I'm going to do 1 row of UK double crochets, which are single crochets in the US, all the way along here. And then what you're going to do is repeat those 2 rows. So you will have 2 rows of treble 3 togethers, and you'll have a row of UK doubles after each of them. Okay, and that will be the end of this section. So I know you don't really need me to watch me go and do a whole row of UK half doubles because we've done that so many times on this blanket so far. So why did I do that? Did I go and do another row going the other way? And I don't know if you noticed how much easier it was to work in as well when you're working in the same direction. It was really kind of nice to do. I liked it more. But the reason being, I wanted all of these treble 3 togethers to be on the front. They do look slightly different on the reverse. They're obviously treble 3s together, but I wanted to keep them all on the front side. So that's why we did that row where we started at the beginning again and worked our way to the end, and we, did that. So anyway, I'm going to end this video here. I'm just going to do 1 row of UK double crochets and end off, but you need to do that, another row here and another row of UK doubles. So that's it this time. Thank you for watching. Blanket should be getting really big now, and of course at any of these sections, as I've said before, if you want to do more of it, like a bigger band, or repeat it again to make yours bigger, especially for the bigger sizes, then that's perfectly fine. Repeat any sections that you want to get more length in your blanket. But for me, doing the smaller one, I think we're well over halfway finished now, so it shouldn't really take too much longer. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.